Germany's decision to procure the RCH 155 wheeled self-propelled howitzer on the Boxer platform marks a decisive shift in how Berlin understands modern land warfare, alliance commitments, and the practical lessons of high-intensity conflict in Europe. The order for 84 systems is not simply another procurement line in the Bundeswehr's modernization plan. It reflects a broader reassessment of firepower, mobility, and survivability under the conditions that now define the NATO eastern flank. For decades, German land forces prioritized heavy tracked systems optimized for Cold War scenarios in Central Europe. The Panzerhaubitze 2000 embodied this approach: powerful, heavily protected, and technologically advanced, but also logistically demanding and comparatively slow to redeploy over long distances. The war in Ukraine, however, has demonstrated that artillery effectiveness today depends less on sheer weight and more on speed, dispersion, and the ability to integrate into sensor-to-shooter networks. Against this backdrop, the emergence of the RCH 155 as a core system for the Bundeswehr's medium forces signals a conscious move toward flexibility and operational realism. The RCH 155 combines a 155mm 52 caliber gun with a high degree of automation, mounted on the Boxer 8x8 armored vehicle. Unlike legacy systems, it can conduct firing missions with minimal crew exposure and, crucially, execute rapid shoot-and-scoot cycles. In an environment saturated with drones, counter-battery radars, and electronic surveillance, this ability is no longer a luxury but a prerequisite for survival. German planners have drawn a clear conclusion from Ukraine. Artillery units that cannot relocate within minutes face unacceptable attrition, regardless of armor thickness. This procurement must also be understood in the context of Germany's evolving force structure. The Bundeswehr has formally committed to building medium forces that sit between heavy armored brigades and light infantry units. These formations are designed for rapid deployment across Europe, particularly toward the Baltic region and Poland, where infrastructure, distances, and political timelines demand speed. A wheeled artillery system integrated into the Boxer family aligns perfectly with this concept. It allows German units to self-deploy over roads, reduce reliance on heavy transporters, and maintain a consistent logistical backbone shared with other Boxer variants. The choice of Boxer is itself strategic. As a modular platform already used for infantry, command, ambulance, and air defense roles, Boxer represents an investment in commonality. For a German audience that is highly sensitive to cost overruns and inefficiencies in defense procurement, this point is critical. By concentrating multiple capabilities on a single chassis, the Bundeswehr reduces training complexity, spare parts inventories, and long-term maintenance burdens. In political terms, this makes the program easier to justify to Parliament and the public, particularly at a time when defense spending is under constant scrutiny. The financial dimension of the RCH 155 order reflects this balancing act. The contract value, approximately 1.2 billion euros, includes not only the vehicles themselves, but also training systems, initial support, and integration into existing command and control networks. Importantly, the order is structured within a framework agreement that could expand significantly in the future. This suggests that Berlin is deliberately keeping its options open, allowing for scale without committing prematurely to a fixed end state. Such an approach mirrors Germany's broader defense policy since the declaration of the Zeitenwende, emphasizing adaptability over rigid planning. From an industrial perspective, the program strengthens Germany's role at the center of European land systems development. The RCH 155 is produced through cooperation between German defense firms, reinforcing domestic manufacturing capacity while remaining compatible with Allied requirements. This matters not only for military readiness, but also for political credibility. Germany has faced criticism from partners for delays and underinvestment in the past. Delivering a modern artillery system on a European platform sends a signal that Berlin intends to be a reliable contributor to NATO's collective deterrence. The timing of this decision is equally significant. Germany has recently expanded its defense budget well beyond previous ceilings, approving multi-year procurement plans that cover air defense, long-range strike, space-based reconnaissance, and ground combat systems. Within this portfolio, artillery occupies a renewed central role. The assumption that precision air power alone could dominate the battlefield has been decisively challenged. Instead, sustained fire support, massed yet mobile, has reasserted itself as a core element of conventional deterrence. The RCH 155 fits squarely into this renewed doctrine. For NATO's eastern flank, the implications are tangible. German units equipped with wheeled artillery can reinforce allies more rapidly, integrate more seamlessly into multinational formations, and sustain operations with fewer logistical constraints. This directly supports alliance planning, focused on deterrence by denial rather than symbolic presence. The ability to deploy credible firepower early in a crisis may well determine whether escalation can be prevented in the first place. Critically, the RCH 155 does not replace heavier systems outright. Instead, it complements them. Germany retains tracked artillery for scenarios where maximum protection and sustained fire under armor are required. The innovation lies in creating a layered approach, matching platforms to missions rather than forcing a single solution onto diverse operational problems. This pragmatic mindset resonates with German strategic culture, which traditionally favors incremental improvement and risk mitigation over radical experimentation. Public debate in Germany often centers on whether military investments truly enhance security or merely satisfy alliance expectations. The RCH 155 offers a concrete answer. It is tailored to realistic scenarios on Europe's eastern periphery, built around lessons learned from ongoing conflict, and embedded within a coherent force concept. It is not an abstract prestige project, but a functional tool designed to perform under pressure. Looking ahead, the system's integration with digital command networks, unmanned reconnaissance assets, and allied targeting data will be decisive. Artillery no longer operates in isolation. It is a node in a wider information architecture. Germany's emphasis on automation and network compatibility suggests that RCH 155 units are intended to operate as part of multinational fire systems, sharing data across borders and command structures. This reflects the reality that any future conflict on the eastern flank would be inherently collective. In strategic terms, the decision underscores a broader shift in German defense thinking. The Bundeswehr is moving away from minimal sufficiency toward credible, deployable capability. This does not imply militarization in the traditional sense, but rather a sober recognition that deterrence in Europe requires tangible assets, not declarations. For a society deeply conscious of history and cautious about military power, this evolution is notable precisely because it is framed in terms of responsibility and alliance solidarity. The RCH 155 on Boxer thus represents more than a new artillery piece. It is a symbol of Germany's effort to reconcile political caution with strategic necessity, efficiency with effectiveness, and national capability with collective defense. For NATO, it strengthens the credibility of the eastern flank. For Germany, it marks another step in translating the Zeitenwende from rhetoric into reality, grounded in practical systems designed for the challenges of the present and the uncertainties of the decade ahead.